All right, so we're going to review some of the beading techniques that we will be using on the Sweets Nutcracker. There are a number of places that we will be doing the cross-stitch beading. It happens to be one of my favorites, admittedly. And we're going to start with a double pin stitch, which we will do in the canvas thread. So we're actually piercing the canvas threads and not going through the holes of the canvas like we did in the previous video, where I reviewed the idea of doing a double pin stitch in the actual holes of the canvas. All right. So once we do our double pin stitch and pull it through, we can cut this excess thread, just like we did with the video with the double pin stitch, okay? All right, so let's start with the peppermint stick. The actual peppermint is a series of 10 stitches. So I'm going to use black beads just to illustrate so that you can see this more clearly. I'm using kind of a light aqua beading thread, and we actually use teal or red or white. But basically, you are going to do a 10 stitch and put the bead on between moving from, let's call this geographically Arizona to Maine, okay? Now you're going to start at the top. And if you're thinking to yourself, but Megan, all of these beads are flopping around. They will not flop around over time. Now, I did this 10 stitch beading so that they would orient themselves in the opposite direction. So you can tell that the beads are slanting from Georgia, my home state, to Washington, geographically. All right, when we do the next row, we want to move all the way back over to the right. Go down one canvas thread and go ahead and do the same thing. You're just going to repeat this. Now, you can use the same thread. I found that using the red thread worked very well. I never changed my red between the red and the white beads, or those, you know, dark pink coral beads. So I just use this same beading thread over and over again. Now, some of you may be asking why I'm using a single thread. That is my preference, and you are able to use a single beading thread if you are not lassoing a bead. So if you find that your beading thread is slipping out of the eye of your needle and you prefer to do two and tie in a knot, you're welcome to do that. But I have not found on this canvas, or really any other, that using a single line of beading thread was problematic in the least. All right, so you get the gist of what's happening here. You can just keep the red beading thread the entire time. All right,